Okay, here we are with the solutions to these geometric sequences. Write out the geometric sequence with a1 is 2, so that means we start with 2, and then the common ratio is 3. So that means we're going to times by 3 each time. So times by 3 is 6, times by 3 is 18, times by 3 is 54, times by 3 is 162, times by 3 is like 486, and it keeps going on forever and ever. Good. Number 2, write out the geometric sequence with a1 equals 3, and the ratio is a negative 2. That means we're going to times by a negative 2. Times by a negative 2 makes it a positive 12. Times by 2 makes it a negative 24. Times by 2 makes it a positive 48, and so on and so forth. Ooh, what is the 8th term? Good heavens, that means we're starting with 3. Let's write that out. We're starting with 3, and then we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. Note that. That means we're taking 7 steps. So we're taking 3 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 7 times. So that's going to be 3 times negative 128. So the 8th term is going to be 3 times negative 128. That's negative 384. There we go. That's the 8th term. Write out a geometric sequence with a1 equals 5 and r equals 4. So we're going to start with 5 and common ratio of 4. So that's 20, 80, 320, and so on and so forth. So a sub 9, that means we're going to start out with 5 and take, make sure you realize that, that's 8 steps from the first guy. That's how you get to the 9th term, is by starting with the first one and taking 8 steps. So we're going to times 4 to the 8th power. Now that's a huge number. Punch it in that calculator and you should have 327680. That is the 9th term. Okay, write out the geometric sequence with a1 is 10, so we start with 10, and the ratio, ooh, it's a 1/2 this time. So we get 5, then we get 5 halves, then we'll cut that in half, we have 5 fourths, then we cut that in half, we have 5 eighths. And notice we're timesing by 1/2 times 1/2, and it keeps going on like that. Oh, we don't have to find a particular one. That's good. Geometric sequence starts with a1 equals 16. So we start with 16, and then we times by 1/2, times by 1/2, times by 1/2, times by 1/2, times by 1/2 again, and again, and yeah, this one goes into the fractions. Interesting that. Oh, look at this one. Here we start with the number 7, and we times by the square root of 3. Oop, there we have it. And then the next time we times by the square root of 3, 7 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 3. Now make sure you're okay with that. Square root of 3 times square root of 3. That is the number 3. Try that on a calculator. And pretty soon you realize, oh, the square root, we find the number that when we times it by itself, it equals 3. So this becomes 7 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 21. Then 21 square root of 3. Then 21 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 21 times 3, which is 63. And so on and so forth. Good. 7. Ooh, this is a little bit trickier. We have a1, a2, a3 is 12, a4, a5 is 48. 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh boy, how's this one going to work? We don't know the common ratio, so we have to kind of find the common ratio. We know that it goes one common ratio, then another common ratio to get up there. 2 steps to get from 12 to 48. Well, this is a factor of 4, so it must have been timesing by 2 and timesing by 2. So that guy's in there's a 24. So the common ratio is 2. Now, from 5 up to 9, that's taking 1, 2, 3, 4 more steps. So we're going to take 48, and we're going to times by 2 4 more times. See, we times by 2, 2, 2, 2. It's 2 to the 4th power. So when we punch that into the calculator, 48 times 2 to the 4th power, we get 768. That is a sub 9. Okay, let's try it again. A sub 3 is 12, and a sub 5 is 48. Hey, look, we just did that one. This has a common ratio of, must be a 2 and a 2. So now we have to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to get this guy right here. So we have 48 times 2 to the 5th power. Punch that in the calculator, and we get 1536. The next one, A2 is 6 and A5 is 162. A2 is 6, so that guy's 6, and A5 is 162. Ooh, this is a tough one. We didn't just take 2 steps, we took 1, 2, 3 steps to get up there. And you can see that A sub 2 to A sub 5, that's 3 steps. So let's find out what this whole thing is right here. 162 divided by 6 is 27. So is there a number times itself, times itself, times itself 3 times that gives us 27? Indeed, that number is 3 times 3 times 3. So that common ratio, ta-da, equals 3. So if we want to find out what this next guy is, we need to take 162 times 3, and we get 162 times 3, and the calculator is 486. That's what A sub 6 is. Ooh, here's another one. Here we have something where it goes 2 steps, and it goes just a factor of 2. Uh-oh. What times itself twice gives us 2? The common ratio is the square root of 2. So to go from 7 up to 8, we would have to times by the square root of 2. So the answer is 32, square roots of 2. Good. And the last row down here, 11. A5 is 12, and A7 is 36. So we have, that's 2 steps to get from A7 to A5 to A7, and this is a factor of 3. So that means the common ratio had to be the square root of 3. So square root of 3 times square root of 3 gives you 3. Ooh, now we have to take A7 to A12. We've got to go 5 more steps. So we're going to take 36, that's A sub 7, times the square root of 3 to the 5th power. Oh, that's going to be a little tough. Let's write it out here. 36 times, now I'm going to take the square root of 3, square root of 3, square root of 3, square root of 3, square root of 3. So we're timesing it that many times. Now these two are a 3, and these two are a 3. So 36 times 9 will give us 324. So we'll have 324 square roots of 3. And that is A sub 12. Number 12, A sub 4 is 5, and A sub 6 is 5 over 49. And you're like, oh boy. From here to here, we had to times by 1 over 49. And we went, what is that, 2 steps? So what times itself, 2 times equals 1 over 49? Ah, the common ratio is 1/7. So if we look at it here, here's a 4, here's a 5, here's a 6. This is 5, and this is 5 over 49. And the common ratio is 1/7. So we times by 1/7 times by 1/7. This guy is 5/7. So that's a 4. We have to go backwards, meaning we have to divide by 1/7 twice, or divide by 1/49. So 5 divided by 1/49. We're going backwards now. So that's 5 times the reciprocal, which is 5 times 49 is 245, is A sub 2. Good deal.